Okay. Right. Hello everybody, all of you. I thought I might as well try and go live while I'm going to paint this chap. So this is just a day in the life of an artist. And you can ask me questions, talk to me. This is not going to be high art. This is just like, let's get this face painted and then put him together. He's going to pretend to be a pusher in my exhibition called My Beloved Addict. So if any of you have any stories to tell about being close to somebody who has an addiction, or being at the other end of it, having an addiction and having to try and deal with it, this is your time. So this is, for you who know me as the arm wrestler, then this is the side of me that is more the professional side. So I'm an artist by profession, arm wrestler, because I'm quite strong, always have been, and thought, well, why not give it a go? So somebody that just managed to just get a glimpse of this and then they vanished. Anyway, fair enough. I'm going to see if I can find something to mix my paint on. Where is that one? So ask me any questions. Like, why am I not in view? Well, hello. The two of you that are currently online, do you want to make yourselves known? This guy's going to get his face painted, and I thought you could just join me on that journey. And you can ask any questions. So the exhibition that I'm going to be making just shortly is called My Beloved Addict, because I'm a friend of somebody who relapsed into heroin addiction, and it's one of the hardest things I've experienced, because I actually really loved him. I thought we were going to share a life together, and he thought otherwise. And so it's not always easy when the drugs just seem to draw somebody more than relationships with human beings. So, because hey, you know, that's life. I don't, you know, I've had to learn to deal with it myself, because a person who has an addiction is almost married to that addiction. I actually wrote a poem. I might share it with you if you show yourself. Oh, Muhammad, hello. How is life in Christiania? Well, now that you ask, I have had this exhibition called My Beloved Addict in Pusher Street in Christiania. Christiania is suffering a lot at the moment with what's going on in the street, because there's been a lot of violence. By the way, if anyone doesn't know what Christiania is, it's a free town in Copenhagen, and it's not more free than that there's a lot of gangs actually converging on poor little Pusher Street and selling hash. And I'm not a fan of hash, I'm not a fan of boozing, I'm not a fan of anything where you run away from reality, because you need to face it at some point, and it gets harder and harder the more you run. But I think it's very hypocritical for the police to be running around after these young men who haven't figured out what better way to use their life than to make a business out of selling something that sells. You know, that's very tempting. That's why some people sell coffee and they sell cakes and they sell alcohol, which is legal, and they sell, what else do they sell? Sex, in forms of, you know, advertising is so sex fixated. I don't know, there's just lots of other ways that kind of legally been allowed to do to sell stuff that also can lead to problems. There's also, you know, like gambling. Seems to be legal to promote gambling, and gambling also can be addictive and cause problems. So there's lots of things, Mum, very true about addiction. Have been to Christiania. I like the ecological and artist and freedom, but don't like the drugs. Indeed, totally agree. I live in a sustainable community in south of Egypt. Wow, cool. What brought you to Christiania? So yeah, and by the way, Christiania, Pusher Street is changing quite dramatically in terms of the people who are selling the drugs. It used to be the hardcore Christiania pushers that didn't speak to anyone, kept a kind of a lid on things. You know, I tried to ask them questions sometimes, and they would be like, by the way, this is a stupid sensor light and it goes out even if I'm moving around. Come on. So it used to be very much people from Denmark, some white Danes standing there selling. Now there's been an influx of young men from a different ethnic background, and what does that say? Well, it says to me partly that there's a group of people who are finding it very difficult to get jobs in Denmark if they don't have the right qualifications or the right look, or I don't know. I think if you make a country too professional, you leave a lot of people out. So it shouldn't just be a choice of either you're going to be a cleaner and a sweeping the streets, or you're going to be professional going to job interviews. You need to have space for the in-betweens. Was doing a project with Danish Youth Council. Okay. You've been to Denmark 7 times. Wow, that's impressive. Right. You know, it's a little bit nerve-wracking for me to be painting in front of an audience, but hey, it's my choice. Gonna give it a go, see what I can do. This here is banana and milk, and the milk was frozen, and the banana was also frozen, so the banana skin was absolutely black. It tastes alright. Had to defrost it first though. Okay. So my mum is Danish and my dad is Scottish. And you coming from Egypt, Mohammed, I have a friend who's Egyptian. He married a German. They live in Denmark and they speak English together. So the kids are totally having to learn so many languages. You know, if all goes to plan, they'll end up with 4 languages, which is pretty impressive. It was enough for me just having the 2, I guess. Trying to compute in those little brains what's going on in the language world. It's quite funny. So, right, first thing I need to try and do is to make a believable skin tone. And the guy that I've sculpted, I actually originally made a proper sculpted head. So, you know, like you measure the head and you go over to the clay and you put the measurements onto the clay and you build it up. He was a half African, half English guy called Dominic. He doesn't know he's turning into a pusher, but I'm sure he'll understand. So I want to give him a little bit of tan, a little bit dark, but not completely black. And this, I've had this pusher character in my other exhibitions, but I just had this flamingo head that I'd bought in a shop and then kind of tweaked and formed. Actually, I'll show you the original face. Anyway, his head was just too small for the body. This one isn't much bigger, but it's gonna help, I think. I mean, I suppose there's an argument that pushers might have small heads, but just joking, just joking. There's lots of reasons why people end up where they end up. So let's see. Whoa, I studied in Edinburgh. Alrighty. Whoa, you've just been stalking my hood. My parents live in Edinburgh. So there we go. So I'm a half caste too. Okay, so this is still wet, but I'm hoping that's okay. Maybe that's still too dark. It looks really light on my palette, and then I put it up on the head and it gets dark. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll start with the hands. So it's a mannequin with this head that I've made. So the original pusher guy that I had, he was dressed really smart, like he was selling high-class drugs, like mafia style. But since a couple of years ago, I started to paint in pusher streets, out in the street, and I kind of got accepted just being there by the guys selling drugs, and I could just see that the clientele, not the clientele, the pushers, you know, from having been the tough guys from Christiania, now it was kind of like small fish that were willing to risk standing selling while the big fish were watching from a slight distance. And basically, the big fish with big guns, they didn't want to get caught by the police, so they sold the responsibility on to these young chaps. You know, really quite young, some of them, which, you know, it's just not right. Just not right. So that they could just say, hey man, I don't have anything to do with this, I'm just sitting here. Which, I don't know. Don't always understand people's brains, but I always believe that, yeah, what inspires me as an artist, I'll tell you in a second. So I believe that, oh, actually, I'll just answer your question because I've forgotten what I was going to say. Art is my way of communicating something, and I do believe that we as human beings have a responsibility to use our skills. And if I was just to paint emotions and feelings and stuff like that, just for my own sake, then I feel like I wasn't using art to its greatest potential. I believe communicating through art is what inspires me, that you can actually say a lot through paint. And I've seen evidence of that from my exhibitions. I don't know if you know, Mohammed, that I've had an exhibition in Pusher Street recently until I came here in Aarhus, where I showed my paintings and my sculptures just in a container. And quite a few pushers have been in to see it, and also their clientele, if you like. So it's been very, very interesting. So I'm trying to paint a hand semi-dark, and then I'll polish it off again, I think, to get rid of the paintbrush strokes. And the palm of the hand will be less dark. Right, I'm gonna go and, oh man, he's gonna end up getting a bad marking here, I think. I might have to leave this to dry a little bit more before I paint it. Otherwise the produce come up. I don't want that. So, this is the hand. This is a mannequin hand. Man. So you ask what inspires me as an artist. Well, I think I mentioned that this exhibition I'm putting up was inspired by seeing somebody relapse that I cared about. So it's like, well, I don't know if I would call it therapy for me, but I think it's very giving to feel like you're helping other people understand something that they didn't understand before. And also helping people who know all about addiction feel like they've been seen and heard, understood. I had a couple of addicts come into my exhibition in Pusher Street, and one of them, he actually started weeping because he felt that this touched him so deeply, which was very moving for me to see, because who knows, maybe it helped him just to face what he was going through or where he was at, and help him to ask himself, you know, is this really where I want to be? Maybe I want to be somewhere different. So thanks for the thumb up. I always appreciate a thumb up, whoever gave it to me. Oh, there's a wave, Mohammed. It seems therapeutic just by watching you. Yeah, well, good. So you can see all my mistakes or problem solving. Let's call it problem solving. He's got some strange markings on his hands, but hey, that's life. See, oil paint is more smooth. Acrylic can sort of peel off suddenly, and I've used acrylic paint because it dries quicker. It's also part of the problem. What has inspired me before? Well, I have also done a series of portraits of people from Christiania. I have a website called leahrobb.com. I don't think it's working particularly well just now, but if you go in there, you'll see some Christiania portraits, and they took me a whole new place, because at the same time as I was doing those portraits, I was developing an art theory called the triangle theory, which was to say that art is a combination of craftsmanship, the skills to create something new or different or problem solve creatively. And then there's the substance, what are you trying to put across? That's the second part of the triangle. The third part is what did I say? The craftsmanship, the ability to draw, the substance, and then the innovation, the ability to do something new. So craftsmanship, substance, innovation, those three things make up art. And that actually really helped me in my portraits, because I was trying to put across something about the character of the people I was painting, not just what they looked like. So I was able to say, okay, so this person, let's try and think of somebody. This person is a drummer, okay, and he's a very lively guy, so I used intense color for him, and then used drumsticks for his frame. And for another person, he looked like he was worse for the wear. I could actually show you the painting here. Oh. Hello. Worse for the wear. A guy called Acid Kim. I painted him with very fluid color, so it was like he was draining away out of the image, and but he was sitting there staring at you, confronting the viewer, look at me, I may be going down, this ship might be sinking, but I'm still a human. So you're confronted with that which you often try to avoid seeing. I know your website. Okay, nice. That is how I followed you. Okay. Craftsman, substance, innovation, seems you mastered them all. Hey. Thank you. Well, it did help me to watch out for things. When you're trying to create something that has something specific to say, it's quite easy to end up sacrificing your aesthetics, your craft. You end up getting so focused on trying to say something, you do it without having it, for example, anything to look at. I mean, I'm definitely a better artist when I've got a picture or a motif to draw from. I'm just doing it from imagination because I've got this cool idea. Then there's a risk that it won't be as good. I mean, even this, this hand will be better painted if I was going to follow a hand and put all the veins in it and stuff like that. But honestly, it's not important for this particular thing. So I'm just going to stay within what I can manage. The deadline is Saturday for the whole thing to be finished, so I'm still building a labyrinth. So that sort of believably brown hand. As for mastering them all, so I did try and focus on getting all of them to hang together nicely. It's like having children play nicely in the playground instead of them fighting each other. And when you try to to have something to say in art, there's always a risk that you sacrifice the craft, as I say. But if you can use your craft to say something in a creative way, then you're engaging all three and having them speak nicely to each other, work together. But sometimes when you're creating art, it's not about harmony between the three. Sometimes you want to sacrifice one of them to enhance another one. So, like, there was one of my portraits that I left. I composed the portrait so that he was sitting too close to the edge of the canvas, but that created unease, and he was talking about having anxiety problems. So I sacrificed a nice composition, or a nicer composition, for the message that I was trying to put across about him being suffering from anxiety. Get what I mean? Well, sometimes when children play and compete, it is needed. You mean it's necessary for them to compete? Yeah, I've always been a very competitive kind of person, but yeah, sometimes it's good when they can play together, and in the same way it's quite nice sometimes when the different parts of art play nicely together. So did you see my website first before you saw my YouTube channel? Compete is necessary. Okay. Did you see my website first, Mohammed? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Because, you know, it's not giving me much time, is it? I need a fan, something that's just always moving. That would be nice. So I don't have to always move. I sometimes feel like nobody sees my website, so I don't do so much with it, which you've kind of proved wrong. Have you watched my arm wrestling things then and gone, what's this all about? I thought she was an artist. You think I'd gone potty? It's nice to think somebody's seen my art first. The thing is, talking of inspiration, right? So I don't know whether you are aware of all this arm wrestling malarkey, but John Brezink, the greatest arm wrestler of all time, I just stumbled across him a few years ago, and I was like, what? This is crazy. How on earth is he winning this match against Denis Plankov, who was like a beast, huge, clearly on steroids and enhancements. And John looked relatively normal at the time, so I couldn't understand, and so I got quite inspired. But after I'd watched as many YouTube videos as I could of him. You don't know about arm wrestling. What got you into it? Well, this is what I'm telling you. So John Brezink, just such a impressive person. I like David and Goliath stories. I like it when they look one way and then they are another way. So he looks pretty normal. When I first saw him, he just had grey hair, glasses, kind of like wearing a dad shirt, whatever. He looked like he might be a car salesman or something. And yet, he was a beast on the table and didn't even look like an arm wrestler. So I like that kind of contrast. But I've always been strong, stronger than women normally are, and have arm wrestled for fun every now and again, beating guys when I was young. I beat my cousin when he was 28 and I was 20, and he was mortified. So he went and started to train fitness and get strong because that was just too embarrassing, which I thought was quite fun. So I make men great again. I beat them, arm wrestling, and then they go train. So, but I didn't go to arm wrestling until I discovered John. So I wanted to do a portrait of John. That was my original inspiration. I was like, I want to do a portrait of him because I think he would be really interesting. Thinking of the Christiania portraits, to do a portrait of this guy. He's a plane mechanic. He is like the greatest of all time arm wrestler. He seems so humble and down to earth. He is quite open when he's online. He seems to be quite honest and open. He's got good values, I think. There's just some really nice things about him as a person, and I hoped I could put them across in a portrait. And also, he had so many trophies by the time he was 21 and getting ready to get married that he got rid of them all, and I don't think he's really kept a trophy since, which all the other arm wrestlers, they have their trophies all around themselves as tokens of their achievements, which is fine, but the greatest has thrown them away. So I wrote a rap, because John originally, I did actually Zoom call John, we had a good conversation, and then he backed down from the idea, which is really annoying. But I wrote a call out rap to him, so if you haven't heard that, then have a bit of fun with that. I posted it a year and a month ago or something, calling out John Brezink. Which starts with, when I first discovered John Brezink, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. He mowed through the young guys practicing, and Ryan Bowen thought it was amazing. Anyway, 2 brown hands, and your face is just too wet. I think I better leave it. But your neck can be brown. Let's get that done. I hope I can make it the same colour again. So, what's got you to arm it? I maybe tried it. You maybe tried it 6 times. I tried arm wrestling for fun 6 or 7 times. Okay, yeah. So I started going to arm wrestling, and I'm still a bit of a handful for the guys that are around about my size. They're all a little bit bigger, but I'm not a walkover, which is cool. You can't be hanging about. Most of this neck is going to be not visible, I think. Mohammed gone. I'm going to put this fella up for. I'm going to put him upstairs so that he can dry a bit more easily. And now nobody's watching maybe, but I'll take this with me. Maybe I can do it safely while holding this guy. Yeah, it's going up for drying. Oops. So, you can see inside my labyrinth. Can you see? There's a chap lying there. With my cousins and sister and the kids to challenge each other. That's it. Everybody has arm wrestled, pretty much. Some people end up just doing it more seriously. Here's my pusher booth. This is where he's going to end up. I don't know if that back to front maybe. And his legs are over here. As you can see. Oh, another light. Oh, I was going to show you Acid Kim. So this is one of the Christiania portraits. And this is like the before and after. Everyone's have a nice time drinking away, boozing away, and then they end up looking like Acid Kim. Not so good. Not so good. Right. This, I've gone up 3 levels. Up 3 levels, and it's just drier and warmer up here, so he can sit here and dry his head out. I have another head down here that needs a little repair. Don't know how I'm going to do that. Whoops. So just on the last day of my exhibition down in Pusher Street, I painted, not the thing in the background, this is not mine. This is my flatmate's head. But he's sustained some injuries, so I need to fix that. I think I'll maybe do something with that just now. Yeah, the paintings of Acid Kim and these chaps, they're mine. As are these ladies. Sorry, I'm going a bit fast because I also need to remember to get things done. Oh, Michael Miller, haha, good evening. You made it. So I've been in the process of trying to make my pusher character. You can just have a little look inside my labyrinth. It's a bit dark in here, but something like that. So this is all going to get closed off and turned into a room in itself. Here's another painting. La 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 la. So I have my studio, my paint's out, but I felt like the head that I was in the process of trying to repair was still too wet to paint, so no painting done. But this head here needs a little repair. You can see the crack. Um, Actually, the whole head came apart, but I've glued most of it together, so that's good. Right. So yesterday I had Karak online. Today, Mohammed and Michael. Yay! Right, we'll find something to repair that with. See, one of the key things as an artist that is to be very creative. So I've got some of these serviettes, you know, these one-time use serviettes, and I'm thinking this and some universal glue will do the trick just to repair this little bit. So you see this hole? I'm going to see if I can repair it in such a way that you would hardly know. Magic, magic, magic. Oh, I should really let you at least see my hands. And then, like something like that. Okay. So, first I'll put some glue on the outside. And then I'll put some glue on the inside. And then I'll take a piece of this and saturate it with glue. Should really put some gloves on, shouldn't I? Maybe do that yet. This glue is so annoying to get off. Okay. So, see, it's almost the same color. That's a good start. The thing is, right, the stuff that I've made this head with is called Fimo or something similar. Cernit is called, which bakes in the oven. And I cannot put this back in the oven and add a bit because then the whole thing starts to melt. I've tried it once before. And the form that I had originally built it in is no longer very good. It's not working very well. It's kind of collapsed into itself. So it'll do for now. And then the other reason why I think this is quite good is this whole head is quite see-through, or translucent, not see-through, it's translucent, so that there's a bulb that goes inside the head. Maybe I could show you. Maybe a little complicated actually. Hold on. Right. Hopefully still works. Right. Here's a little egg. It goes inside the head and changes colour. See? So the idea with this sculpture is it's got a black cape and it's got a body that's kind of skinny, and the head is levitating above the body. And the idea is that it demonstrates how somebody who's gotten into addiction is basically living up in their heads, and they are forgetting to take care of their body, their heart, their feelings. They're actually running away from their feelings mostly. Which, you know, in the end of the day, you're going to suffer from. I always say you should take yourself by the hand when life is difficult. Maybe even, you know, if you can even try to imagine that God is there, try to take God's hand too, but basically make sure that you take care of yourself. To love yourself is actually also to face the things that are difficult in life and not to run away from them. It's also one of the things that I would be saying in this exhibition. I can see there's some things very much for the guided tour. I appreciated it very much. Don't forget to have a coffee break. Ooh, well, I don't drink coffee, so it won't be coffee, but yeah, tea. But you're right, I am working hard. Coffee break and enjoy your well-earned sleep. At 9 o'clock I have invited my old school friend's place. Okay, so you'll be there. So unfortunately I have to leave you, and in a few minutes enjoy your well-deserved sleep. If I sleep, yeah, I will. Thanks. Well, nice to see you pop by. Catch you another time. Enjoy your time with your friend. Old school friend. Well, I visited an old school friend. I'm 46, so that is definitely a while ago that I had that school friend. See, this is where the lap is. You wouldn't notice, would you? You wouldn't notice. So that's good. The patch. I said lap, that's Danish for patch. Universal glue. Bit of sponge. Washing sponge. It's doing wonders. Wonders, because it squashes in quite well, and then the glue hardens, and then the sponge will end up getting pretty solid. That's the theory. I think it's true. So I often experience that art either gets sabotaged or, you know, occasionally it'll actually just break. That's just life. And I enjoy being able to use my creativity to try and repair things, and sometimes even repair them deliberately leaving the evidence of the damage, because it's part of its life story. And we human beings have a lot of life experience, and we'll have some scars, and some of them will maybe even make us more beautiful. Others, I guess, leave us traumatized. But often I think how we deal with the traumas that we meet is partly our responsibility, you know. I've definitely experienced feeling very sorry for myself when things have gone wrong. I've been like, why, this is not fair, and then you sit licking your wounds and you almost enjoy it, the taste of blood. But, you know, it's much better to be like, okay, that wasn't fair and life's not fair, but I'm not going to let the rest of my life be defined by this. Not in a negative way, anyway. Okay. So, ooh, look at this now, you see? Aha! Ha 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 ha. Right. Enjoy your well-deserved sleep. Yeah, very true. Yes, very true. What do you think of this scary creature? So inside the labyrinth, this head will be doing this. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to put the light on again because otherwise I can't continue. But yeah, so you got an idea. Get the picture. Let's see if there are any more places I need to put a patch. Quite into this patching up. It's very strong stinking blue. Okay, well, there's something maybe at the nose. Was it a patch at the nose? Arm wrestling is more scary than this face? Okay, you see so. Oh, the other thing that I find interesting with arm wrestling is the fact that it's this underground community. So for a long time when it was still quite small, you felt like you were part of a small community, and I like that. It's kind of growing a bit more now, and there's just doesn't feel like there's as much room for me anymore. And I am disappointed that John Brasink kind of said yes to doing the portrait, and then said he'd rather not. So I ended up getting all my creative juices going and then having to pack them away again. Who knows? I haven't given up the idea. Maybe I would have to do it as a series of portraits of people, arm wrestlers. But then I really need to have funding for that. I mean, I can't spend half a year doing portraits of arm wrestlers just for my own entertainment. If nobody else wants to see them. Really, what does it mean? There's not much room for you. Well, to start with, I felt like I could contribute with my YouTube channel, and of course I'm still doing that. And maybe I felt like I suppose when I went to East versus West to see the competition live, I left there a little bit disappointed. I mean, I met some people like Ryan, not Ryan, jeez it peeps, Ray, Coach Ray, and he was really nice. He apologized to me for losing his match and gave me a hug. But I just, I felt like there wasn't the same, you know, I was there, I have this ability to do portraits of arm wrestlers, John and company, and to me it seems like it's a really good offer, and I felt like there would be an opportunity to make it a thing and stuff, and it didn't really, so far it's just like, yeah, that sounds great, and then moving on. So, and maybe I don't have enough resources to make a really big thing out of arm wrestling in my channel, so like I can't spend hours editing videos about arm wrestling, but maybe it'll come. By the way, Mohammed, you might, if you haven't seen it already, you might like to see the Christiania Through the Eyes of a Painter video that I've done. Because that is showing quite well what my inspiration of Christiania was like. Christiania really inspired me because it was so different from my world. Let me see. You are such a multi-artist. Somebody said that today. I tend to forget that this is your real occupation. Oh, hello, Bonzo guy. That's not what you're normally called, is it? Anyway, after all this arm wrestling and using your nice muscles, yeah, maybe I'll flex them later. Right, I'm just going to go up and see if I can paint some socks on. This is in case I don't get any socks for my pusher up here, then I need to do that. No, yes, your name is Martin, that's right. Martin. Right, so this is the legs for the coming pusher that's going to stand in a booth. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you can just ask, because I've told it a few times, so I don't know who knows what I'm doing right now. Right, so this guy needs to get his shoes off, or his socks off, or something. So, you're getting an inside view of, you know, sometimes you just need to take quick fixes. Time is running out. There we go, that's his nice socks. Oh, I don't normally do this. Especially not in front of the camera. But Martin, hvis du kommer til Aarhus den 13. januar, så er der udstilling i Kulturhusbunkeren. You know, I should really have taken the shoes off, but oh well. And hopefully I'll get some socks for him, but may not make it. Okay, fancy socks, fancy socks. Right, you all shocked at my, what does it mean? Flex them. What do you mean? What does it mean, flex them? Do you want me to flex them? To flex them is to bunch up your muscles so you can see them more clearly. Okay. This is to flex. Left is not as good. So. A little bit more paint. Such a lazy pair of socks. Anyway, there we go. Hopefully they won't need to remind that. I'm shocked. You're shocked to the core. What, by my flex? Yeah, I do look quite big, don't I? Do you know, recently I did a pull-up where I start hanging like this, and then pull my knees up, and then try and pull myself up. It's so much harder because I don't think you can access your what's it called, back muscles, which is unusual. Well, so far, just now, there's only one person watching. So who is it that got shocked shocked so much that they left the building? Who's still here? You're shocked. Well, yeah, I look small and innocent. So, Mohammed, do you not really watch any of my YouTube videos about arm wrestling? Du vidste godt. Der er kun en, der ser ud til at være online lige nu. Så, men der er to åbenbart, så jeg forstår det ikke. Jeg har et eller andet splint i siden af min trøje. Jeg skal bare ud. Ja, sådan. Tror jeg. Yeah. Oh, Mohammed doesn't have those muscles. He's trying in front of the mirror. Well, you know, if you've only tried arm wrestling a few times as a kid, then maybe you're missing out on some muscles. Yeah, but it's not just from arm wrestling. I've done quite a lot of swimming of late, and sometimes go to the gym for fitness training, and what else? Climbing. I can do a 3-finger pull-up, like 2 on one hand and 1 finger on the other hand, which is quite good. But, you know, what I've said to someone else recently is that within this last 6 years where I've been getting stronger, in some ways my most challenging development was emotionally, because of my friend relapsing. It was so painful. I needed to get emotionally strong to cope with it. Okay, maybe Mohammed's strength isn't your thing, but that's okay. Leave it to other people. If everyone was the same, then that would also be boring. So, I will probably have to, what do I need to do? I need to start putting curtains up. I don't know if you want to watch me do that. It's kind of possibly a little bit boring. I'm trying to try it with my partner of work, but she also won. Okay. What a shame. But it doesn't matter. It would be boring if everyone was the same strong. But you can, of course, get stronger if you work on it. if you can be bothered working on it, then you can get stronger. And usually men can get stronger faster than women. And so that's why my cousin, he ended up beating me once he started training. So I suggest that we call it an evening. Think Leah would win against me. I have seen her so many times. Yeah. Maybe. See you later. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Be nice to speak to you. So I'll catch you later. Bye. Are you sure? Yes.